is about the reforms in the power sector in our country. These reforms, as you know, started in the year 2003, and essentially the idea was to streamline the three functions, that is generation, distribution, and transmission. Generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity, and also to make good the losses suffered earlier on account of various reasons. Now, in the beginning, I'd like to tell you that it's a very interesting fact that the ancient Vedas have several references to environmental protection. I'm coming to that because we will see how power has, indiscriminate supply of power has caused, opened up possibilities of environmental degradation. See, Vedas have referred to environmental protection, ecological balance, weather cycles, rainfall phenomena, hydrological cycles, and related subjects that directly indicate the high level of awareness of the seers and people of that time. So this subject is nothing new. It's not as if it was invented or discovered by the World Bank and or present political parties. Now, today, the situation of the power sector is like something like a treadmill. Those who have exercised on a treadmill will know you have to run in order to stay where we are. That is what Alice in Wonderland. I don't know if you have read. If you have not, you must all read that book. Alice. It's called Through the Looking Glass. Okay. In fact, my book is also called Trekking Over Pebbles: Life Through a Hyderabadi's Looking Glass. So in that it says you have to run in order to stay where we are, because in fact today's situation is such that even if we run on the treadmill, we are going backwards, not even staying where we are. Why, we will see in a minute. These I was chief secretary in 2003 when these reforms started, and Andhra Pradesh state, you will be happy to know, was a pioneer in these reforms, and its model was adopted more or less by the whole country later on. And the first package of reforms was what was called UDAY, Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana, and it started with that. Now, these reforms involved various steps. First was the separation of the three functions. Earlier, all the three used to be with what was called the State Electricity Board, and partly with the Irrigation Department as far as hydroelectric connected energy was concerned. Now, it is generation, transmission, and distribution are three different autonomous corporate entities. There is, in every state there's a Transco, there's a Genco, there's a Transco, and then there are Discoms for different regions of the states. Then the reforms introduced by in the wake of World Bank assistance, part of the structural reforms also, which was started earlier following liberalization, privatization, globalization, part of which reform were these power sector reforms. They firstly, separation of these functions and setting up autonomous bodies so that there could be clarity and transparency about which activity is performing, how clearly, how efficiently. Then second was state governments undertaking to completely set off the impact of subsidies given by the states for the power supply in the state. And the third one was the appointment of independent and autonomous regulators to perform various functions in the sector. Now, there are many challenges to be addressed in the power sector. They arise out of various factors. First is thefts, straightforward theft. As you know, you must have seen many instances in cities and in villages of people unauthorizedly taking power away from the main line, taking a connection and all that without any meter, and no one knowing what's happening. So theft was one main problem. The other is what are called operational losses, technical losses. They are called transmission and distribution losses, T and D losses. These occur because of natural, energy is always lost while being transmitted from one place to another. But that loss should be within an acceptable, range, which is unfortunately not the case now. It's a separate issue. But that is, theft is one. Then on account of technical losses, and thirdly, faulty metering. I mean, several problems. Firstly, they're not being meters at all, so you don't know how much power is going. Secondly, meters not functioning properly. So these are the one, and then rural distribution to farm sector, and then villages, etc., where there is heavy overload of power on the transmission distribution lines, and losses occur because of lack of appropriate infrastructure being established for supplying power of various voltage to different types of consumers. So, and finally, the absence of a policy. You see, the main policy in the power sector is about giving subsidies. It is perfectly all right for states to want to give subsidy, subsidized power. In fact, there's a race in between the states to such an extent that ultimately states, almost all states started supplying power to the agricultural sector at zero tariff. Now, just like, loan waivers, etc., or, in the banking sector, this is a very, very counterproductive strategy. But the reforms say, okay, if you want to give it free, give it free. But then compensate for the losses to the power distribution sector. That is one thing which that policy is not there, because as you know, even the subsidized rice scheme, the 2 rupees kg scheme originally, which is still not 2 rupees, but it's a subsidized rice scheme. There, rice is given at a subsidized rate, but up to a fixed quantity. So, which is why meters. So farmers were educated with great difficulty, saying, you please, by all means, take free power, but tell me how much power you're drawing, so that we can say up to a point, we give you free power, not beyond that. Or perhaps have a differential policy. Rich farmers, yes. Poor farmers, no. Phalana, cash crops, no. But food crops, yes. That sort of thing. At least some sort of regulation of the end use can be, monitoring can be done, and therefore tweaking of the policy can be done. So this another crying need of the hour is the need for energy audit. The audit basically means, you see, knowing where the power is going, to whom, and how much that activity or consumer is consuming, and also knowing how much the losses are on account of which particular parameter, etc., etc. Then this audit also has to be done by external, agencies, because it is, if you look at the mirror, you'll only see your own face. So similarly, if engineers do the power engineers do the audit, it will result in what is called information asymmetry, because it won't be objective. Because they judge in the army, there's a saying that you cannot be the judge, the jury, and the prosecutor yourself. So it has to be external and independent expert audit. Then finally, the cleaning up of the balance sheets of the power sector, like you must have heard in the banking sector, because of the non-performing assets, etc. Repeatedly, Government of India has cleaned up the balance sheets and made the bank eligible for lending again. Again, banks have lent to the same, huge, important customers who have defaulted again. Once again, they went to losses, and once again, so this vicious cycle is continuing. Similarly, is the case with the power sector. Third, sort of packet of bonds issued. Bonds are issued to the public with interest guaranteed by the central government to fund this, cleaning up of the balance sheets. It has done, but it has proved disastrously inefficient, because the fundamental problems have not been addressed. There's by all means, cleaning up of balance sheets, essentially, if you are making a new beginning, if you are turning a new leaf. But if the same weaknesses are to continue, what is the point? So this is it. And another important thing is, in the future, the regulators have to be independent and experts. Now today, almost no regulator in the country is an expert, and most of them suffer from political interference. This simply will not do. Okay, then this is the thing. Then this cycle, what the power people call the MBC cycle, the metering, the billing, and the collection. What happens is, either there is no meter at all, so you can't measure the consumption, or there is no billing. Even if there is a meter, the bill is not raised against the customer, so you don't know how much is due. And even if the bill is raised, it is not collected. So all these three functions have to be performed in the future. So the road ahead for the power sector should be largely resting on three important factors. One is large scale, effective, aggressive privatization. Government simply cannot run this. In fact, there was recently a proposal that there should be a national power grid run by government. Nothing can be more, cataclysmal than that. It simply will not work. Experience has shown. In fact, whatever, like the Tatas in Bombay, you must have heard, there is what is called the BEST. And the Calcutta also, there was a originally private distribution. So private distributors have their disadvantages, all right. But then without them, the future is bleak. The second one should be appointment of regulators and leaving them alone. These two are important. And then, as I said, the MBC cycle. Plus, in the future, a heavy emphasis must be laid on non-conventional energy sources, so that power, non-renewable energy, which is our normal traditional electricity, which is based on thermal power, etc., and even yes, thermal power or power from coal, etc., that is minimized. And then solar pumps, for instance, will be a very good idea. Then the other factors that are happening on account of this indiscriminate subsidizing of the power sector are, one is mindless mining of the groundwater. As you must have seen in Telangana state, for instance, zero power with the and then 24 hours supply guaranteed by the highest levels. With the result, people started simply mining water without any regard to its harmful consequences. What Dr. M.S. Swaminathan called the sanctuaries meant for the future. Those sanctuaries of water also lying hundreds of feet below the ground have also started being exploited, and unnecessarily people being forced to grow crops which are water hungry like paddy instead of ID crops like groundnut, etc. Because water was coming at night, there was no way to stop it, and then irrigated dry crops will perish with so much water. They were forced to grow the wrongs. In fact, government adopting a meaningless and counterproductive policy. So the subsidies have wreaked havoc on the economy of the country. So the future lies, as I said, in these three things. And finally, as Mahatma Gandhi said, there is enough in the universe for meeting mankind's need, but not for mankind's greed, which is what we are doing to the power sector, which is what we should stop. And even the Vedas, I am quoting now, the Rig Veda says, when any inadvertent action leading to earth's excessive exploitation, the seers prayed for forgiveness. Whatever I dig from thee, O earth, may that have quick recovery again. A purifier, may we not injure thy vitals or thy heart. The seers of Rig Veda speak on behalf of earth for its principle of replenishment, saying, you give me and I give you, which is what we do even in atmospheric pollution. Wherever you pollute the atmosphere, you take steps to make sure that the damage is compensated. So roughly, this is my take on today's that article in the Indian Express.